Welcome back, dear listeners, to the Friday Flight podcast, where we rank, review, and recap any given horror movie in a franchise.
That's right. We're going to go over a crazy movie today, Geraldine. We're on season 3. This is the second episode of season 3. We're covering the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Today we're covering the sequel released in 1986.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, also directed by Tobe Hooper. I just got one question, though.
Okay.
We kind of need to tell who we are. Sorry, I do this every time where I fuck something up in the beginning, so here we are. I'm Geraldine. I'm the Friday of the podcast. I like horror movies. It's my thing.
And I'm Frankie. I'm the flight of the podcast. I'm scared of everything. I'm scared of thunder sometimes. If it's too loud, too abrupt, I'll be eating my popcorn and
Oh, I know. I love the thunder. The louder, the better. If it's over my house and it makes my house shake a little bit, I'm like, yes.
You like the roar of the clouds. So I got to say about this movie, Geraldine. Mm-hmm. Wow. It's a huge departure from the first one.
Huge. And for me, it's in a bad way. But you go first.
I absolutely hated this film.
Really? Did you really?
I did not enjoy this film whatsoever.
You literally are such a fucking liar. I texted you and I was like, okay, heads up. I hated this. And you were like, okay, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum today. And
I'm
I was
like the table. Like you're on that side.
Oh, okay.
I'm on this side.
Sure.
But yeah, I did not like the movie at all. It was super weird in a very not interesting way.
The story, stupid.
It is stupid. The first one, which is a little messed up, Geraldine, because I enjoyed the first one.
I enjoyed the first one too.
Actually, surprisingly, I really liked the first one. I liked all the characters.
Even though it wasn't much of a plot, the characters.
No, there wasn't. But there was something about like Franklin and Sally and all of them that I did enjoy, as well as I found like the murder family really interesting.
Right.
So I was excited to come into this. I was like really excited to watch the sequel.
Me too, because truthfully, I hadn't seen it ever.
Yeah.
I'd only seen the original and some of the remakes.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. Well, I'm excited to see this. It's got Bill Moseley in it, and I love Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
He was the one who played the Deadite captain in Army of Darkness.
Okay.
But he's also in so many other horror movies. He's just really like in the horror community. So I was like, okay, I'm down with it.
But for me, this movie was a big disappointment.
Huge disappointment. I was so fucking mad throughout the whole time. I was like watching it, and I was like,
yeah.
Gave a stank face the whole time.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well,
there
it's
were parts
weird
that
because
I was like, I don't know. There were parts that I was like, okay, I can kind of see the appeal here. But really, I can't even give it that many compliments. It does have more gore, which I do appreciate. And I do think it's cool because it's Tom Savini and he's a legend in the horror movie like community as well. So with that, especially being in the 80s, it was great. But because it's in the 80s.
Yes, that's such a big thing to do with the movie.
Yeah.
Like so much of it, the music, the synthesizers.
I liked it. Okay, I dug the music.
And also just like every little thing I feel like was totally influenced by the 80s.
Yes.
And while the last one I feel like was super hardcore 70s, I really enjoyed.
So just because I was like, oh man. So this beginning scene, we're like already in the car with these two annoying a-holes. This one guy's wearing these weird sunglasses. They look like coins. I don't know.
Yeah, Rick and Buzz.
Yeah, Rick and Buzz. I didn't remember their names because they were so not memorable.
Oh, really?
They were so not memorable.
I was watching that and I was like, this is going to be me and Geraldine in October.
Okay.
When we go to that Depeche Mode show. It's going to be
Yes, Depeche Mode. I'm so excited.
You know, I never knew how to pronounce their name.
I didn't either. I would call it Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Depeche Mode. But it's Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Just a soft shh.
I wonder what it means.
I don't know. Don't
But
really care.
yeah, Buzz and Rick are big assholes, the biggest a-holes in town, and they're running around in their car, drinking, driving. What's up?
They don't know. They're like, I don't know. It's like they don't even look like they'd be cool enough to be like cool assholes either. And they're acting cool.
I can't tell anymore. Like what was cool in the 80s? Like what did a cool guy look like, you know?
That's true.
I've seen Stranger Things, and I know people like that one guy.
God, Eddie Munson.
Oh, you're in the crowd.
Yes.
Okay.
And Steve Harrington.
Oh, they both do it for you.
Yes.
I think what's the name of there's a weird one that I liked in season 1, but he looks so weird to me now.
Probably the brother.
Yeah, Nancy's boyfriend.
What's his name? Jonathan. Jonathan Wheeler is his name.
Yeah.
No. Nancy Wheeler is her name. Jonathan, I don't know.
What's Will's last name?
Byers. That's what it is. So Jonathan Byers.
He's such a creep.
Which is really cute that they're actually together IRL.
Oh, they
Nancy,
are?
yeah, Nancy and Jonathan are together.
Okay, never mind. I like it now.
I really, really enjoy them as a couple. They're really cute, but they're very strange-looking individuals anyway. But not in like a mean way. It's like they're not under a conventional definition of what attraction is.
I think about this a lot. Like, do you have to be? I think you kind of have to be a little different looking to be a movie star. Like, look at Anya Taylor-Joy. She looks
Taylor-Joy
weird.
is beautiful. Apparently, people make fun of her eyes all the time, and I think her eyes are really what makes her so beautiful.
People will find a thing to make fun of anybody.
Because I think her eyes being so big. That I don't know. There's just something about it.
I mean, that's
just
part
like,
of the
I'm
reason
like,
she's
wow.
a star. You know what I mean?
She's gorgeous. And for people to say that Anya Taylor-Joy is not beautiful,
they're insane.
Like, literally, go get her. Go somewhere.
Do you think you look this weird enough, different enough to be like on that? Like,
no, I think I'm too creative. So I think I'd need to be the behind the scenes.
oh,
kind of
come
stuff.
on! People, stars are creative.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I feel like I am not creative enough to do the performance.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like. What do you think? Do you think I could? I don't know.
I think you totally could.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Now I don't know.
Watch out, movie stars.
I don't know about like your acting chops because I found out recently the acting very hard.
Okay, but like acting is also the style that we were doing was very cringe on purpose.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's just sometimes you'll see movies they'll get models who's never acted before, but they just
hate
look the part.
that fucking shit so bad.
And
But some of them, because Alyssa Sutherland was a model before she was in Evil Dead Rise, and she did outstanding.
Oh yeah, she did great, 100%.
Like. In that way, I'm like, okay, I support models.
It just depends, from time to time. So I used to think, anybody can act. But now I do see there's a little difficulty for it.
A little bit.
Talking about performance, Leatherface in this movie, he gave, I feel like, a different performance.
It's really overdone, over the top a little bit.
He has a jig that he does in this movie where he raises it and kind of like mumbles around a little bit.
So fucking stupid. I can't get past how dumb this one is. And so I thought my mom had told me, because my mom, I was like, hey mom, like we're gonna watch this for a podcast, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie, and she was like, oh okay, the one with Bill Moseley, and I was like, oh okay, cool, I didn't realize he was in this one. She was like, yeah, and I was like, cool. I thought maybe because we were talking about it, I must have misinterpreted what she was saying. I thought maybe she enjoyed it. I thought she liked it. So I went in with it. I was like, okay, maybe it'll be good.
Yeah, good expectations.
Fucking no.
No.
And she was like, no, I never said I liked it. She was like, I don't really watch that one ever.
Now, how about we start dissecting that? What about the movie don't we like?
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a few things, and like I don't like how characters are portrayed, and I feel like the movie really doesn't like have like a big thread throughout the whole thing. It just seems like we're doing random things over and over.
Random things over and over. There was a random reveal at the end of the movie with the fucking lieutenant called Left. Well, first of all, one of my gripes, the names Stretch and Lefty.
Yeah.
Dumb.
I wonder where you get those.
Probably just some deep South nicknames we got going on here.
I mean, I like Lefty.
I mean, is he left-handed?
It doesn't look like he is.
Let's talk about him. That makes sense.
Who is Lefty?
Lefty's our lieutenant. Like, he's the cop or whatever that is trying to solve this case.
Him and Stretch are kind of like our protagonists in this one. And I like them way less than Franklin, Sally, and the crew.
I agree.
Jerry.
But also, we don't really get a chance to know them, and they die off really quickly. But I also prefer, like, I forget her name, the woman who did Sally's performance in the first one. I loved her performance so much more than...
The actress for Stretch?
Yes. Caroline Williams.
Right.
There were parts that I enjoyed her character, for sure. I was like, okay, she seems kind of cool. But then later I was like...
Didn't work for you.
Just shook my head. I was like, the fuck am I watching, guys?
The one thing I will say about the opening scene that I enjoyed, I thought it opened perfectly fine.
Okay, yeah, the opening was not bad, but it was just kind of like a strange opening. I was like, okay, what are we kind of like leading up to? What are we doing? Yeah. And then we get this fucking campy kill on the street.
I don't mind it. I think it's fun.
I did not like it.
Yeah.
I thought it was not really... I don't know. I just didn't think it was something that Leatherface would do. But I've seen some of the other movies, and Leatherface is like this. He's terrifying, and he's
I think this movie kind of did a very similar thing that like Evil Dead did, where like it starts off serious and then it wants to move on to like a more comedic kind of thing. But I feel like Evil Dead did it a lot better. I think they succeeded where Texas Chainsaw kind of fumbled. I feel like
they fumbled the bag fucking hard because this one did not do it for me at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I have so many bad things to say about
Stretch works at a radio station, which is really cool.
I enjoyed that. I thought that was a really cool concept because I do like we do podcasts and stuff like that. So this is stuff that appeals to us anyway. But it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like she's got a cool little radio station.
What a cool job to have.
That is a very cool job to have.
Yeah.
She does like cool music that she plays. She's got her boss, which I thought was strange because later we find out that she's actually in love with her boss or something.
Well, yeah, but you can. I didn't know how to interpret that.
I didn't either. It felt like he was kind of being creepy, and she was just kind of like, "Come on, quit being creepy with me."
Yeah, and it's the 80s, so
yeah. And then later on, we find out she's like, "Oh my god, I loved you," and I'm like,
"Well, what? I didn't know if she meant that romantically or like platonically."
I feel like it was romantically. I don't know.
Well, if it was romantically, it was definitely just like shoved in there. Like there was no. We didn't get any kind of romance between them or anything.
It was just so thrown together. It felt like whoever wrote this had no time.
Well, I think we should mention that because apparently this is directed by the same director as the first one.
Yeah.
But Toby Hooper directed and wrote the first one. He only directed this one. He did not write.
Okay, so I guess it can't all be on Toby. He was just doing what he had with the material.
With the script, yeah. So somebody else wrote this movie. And yeah, I agree. They did a bad job. I think another aspect of the whole 80s of it all is like the set design. Like obviously this movie got a bigger budget. In the first movie, you only have like, I don't know, 2-3 locations. In this movie, you're like at the end of a highway, at a radio station, at like a convention for chili. You get like this whole underground cave complex that the family lives in. And especially the like underground area of the movie, they really detail designed the whole area.
They did, and that's the only compliment I can really give them.
Well, for me, I actually don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Because it reminds me
you wasted your budget, is what it feels like.
I agree. And also, in the first movie, it kind of felt a lot more realistic that the house has all this like weird stuff in it, where I could see that being a thing. But like when they're underground, there's like a wall made out of skulls and stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just looks like it was a set designer putting it there just because it's creepy.
This is going to look creepy.
Yeah, exactly. Not that anything that they would do. In the first one, it did look that way.
Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense in some way because like if the first one took place in 1973.
Right.
And this is like 1986, so it's like 13 years later.
Yeah.
Is it technically 13 years later in general, and that means that they've just been killing that many people kind of thing? So in terms of storytelling, I can kind of see an appeal for that design choice, but at the same time, I'm not a fucking designer, but I'm also like, it's a no for me, dog.
I didn't like it, no. Also, I want to go over the characters. Like, we got the same family that we got the first time around, and I do genuinely feel like the other two, I wish we got the original Leatherface, because I think their performance was a lot better, but...
Gunnar Hansen, he did fantastic. Not only that, he was terrifying. Like, this one was just so comedic that it was like, what am I? It's Leatherface. I'm supposed to be scared out of my pants right now.
What did you think about Chop Top?
Fucking annoying. So, okay, I love Bill Moseley, but Chop Top was annoying. There were parts that I was like, okay, that's kind of funny, whatever. But it's like, it was not necessary. The other, like, annoying, like, hillbilly brother kind of thing from the first one was creepy, but also in like he was just really creepy in his delivery. So I liked him more.
I liked him a lot more. And I wasn't understanding, like Chop Top kind of has like a metal plate in his head. I kept on trying to figure out, is this the same person from the first movie or is this a completely different character?
I have no idea because that's how like thrown together it feels.
Because it feels like they're trying to do the same kind of character, creepy brother thing. And if it's not the same guy, then they made him act like the guy for the hitchhiker from the first movie. So I don't really understand what's going on. It's not very clear to me. I like the first scene he was in. I think he gave a great performance.
I think so too.
When he was like scratching his head with...
Yeah, because I wrote that down and I was like, okay. Like, what did I wrote down? Bill Moseley looks yucky, but he's fantastic. I said, what the fuck is up with the wire hanger? And I was like so confused. And then when it's revealed he has that like metal plate, I'm like, what is happening though?
And it looks like he keeps scratching it and like the skin off.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it makes me, I think it is interesting because like I've had like a tooth removed and like I cannot stop fidgeting with like the hole or like scabs. I don't know if anybody's
why do we
ever
do that?
I don't know. We really shouldn't.
We really shouldn't, but we do that because, like, for example, like, if I have like little scratch marks from my cat, I'll scratch over them.
No.
Why do I do that? And then I also pick at my nails really bad.
Yeah.
Why do I do that? It's like I hurt myself even more.
We live in an emo world.
And we're all humans. We make mistakes. We do the things. Yeah.
I think the cook. I don't know who plays the cook, but
I think it's the same person.
I think it's the same person. Yeah. And I think he also gives a good performance. I just feel like he wasn't given a lot to do in this movie, and everything that he was given to do, like. He is so good at playing the character, for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think the result of the script and the film. There was just
a huge disconnect with this one. So it was like, I don't know. It felt like some of the things that he was saying or doing was like, again, one, overdone. Two, like, it just wasn't enough. Or, I don't know. It was just missing something.
I thought that when we first meet Lefty, he looked just like Owen Wilson to me.
I'm not fucking kidding. I wrote that down. I was like, is that
Owen Wilson?
I literally wrote this down.
Wow.
Hold on. Wow. That is so
Did he not
funny.
look like Owen Wilson, or is it just me?
No, I said, why does this cop seem like Owen Wilson if he was 80?
Literally. He's going to grow up.
Great minds.
He's going to grow up and they're going to remake it and cast him.
Okay, so a couple of things that I wrote down. Some of the language in the 80s, because like Lefty was like going to buy chainsaws, right?
Okay.
Which I thought was an interesting take. And I was like, okay, I don't really understand what's happening here, but go for it, I guess. Go off, Queen. And this random hillbilly man was like, my aching banana. And I was like,
what did he mean by that?
What does that mean? Does that mean like that? Is that making your dick hard? I don't know what that means.
I could not figure it out.
I was
and also, I didn't know like not only what it means, but like is he excited? Is he mad? What is? I didn't get it.
I was like, are we upset? Are you in on it?
So do you think this is like 80s talk?
I don't know. I'm not.
We gotta ask some people.
If you were born in the 80s,
let us know.
No, not born in the 80s.
Were you saying my aching banana?
What does my aching banana mean? I mean, we might be young, but
I just want to know.
We're not dumb, okay?
I'll start saying it though.
My aching banana.
Yeah. I also like somebody says, "Remember the Alamo, cowboy." I like that line.
It's just, oh god, this movie is just so stupid. On so many levels, I can't. It's just, oh god, it's so bad. Okay, then we have this weird ass chili cook off, and I was like, okay, I understand. That's kind of funny because
I don't mind the cook off. I think it's messed up.
It is messed up, which is what makes it like humorous to me. Is that it's like, it's that irony that we know that it's human, flesh and human meat and stuff. These people don't know that, and they're like, "Oh, this damn chili is fucking delicious." Blah blah blah.
And he wins.
And he wins. They just pour chili in the trophy.
Yeah. So I didn't mind the chili competition too much, and him driving back and hearing the murder on the radio station, which is messed up.
That was a cool concept.
Yeah, the concept is cool,
but the delivery of the scene was not cool. I mean, the makeup whenever the guy gets his head like chainsawed, like. To the diagonal form, that was really cool.
I liked it, and also just having like the blood spill out of the top.
That was really, really cool.
He had this line where he said that he wants to listen to Bright Lights, Big Titties, and then he said, never mind. I don't want to hear it. I want to see him. And I'm just like, what is he talking? He's listening to the radio. Like, it doesn't really make any sense.
That's just so funny that people would randomly call in and just, like, harass her, which was like, okay, like, they're annoying as hell.
Okay. Well, on that point, I do not understand how she wasn't able to hang up.
Like, literally just fucking hang up the phone, lady. You have the phone. You have the power to just be like,
it sounds like she didn't. I don't think she did. I don't think she was able to hang up on them. Like, they had to hang up, which makes no sense.
That doesn't make sense. I don't know how that worked back in the day for like radio stations.
Me neither.
Because I feel like nowadays they use like, and almost I feel like nowadays they would use like a phone thing, right? Like an actual like phone, like.
Now I think it's all over the internet.
Well, right, but I mean like what's it called? Like the other phones, like not our cell phone. Oh God, I'm making myself sound stupid, guys. I swear I'm not
like
stupid.
Like a wired telephone.
Yes.
Is that a telephone, right?
Just a telephone.
Or no, it's a landline.
Yeah, it's kind of. So a lot of like, for example, restaurants have them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so sometimes in my brain, I'm like, okay, well maybe they'll use those and like connect it somehow, and then they could just literally hang up themselves. So I'm like.
And they were trying to hang up, so I don't know what was going on there. Another interesting thing, they were playing tapes, and I've never seen that before, because I've seen old timey radio stations and like. TV shows like That 70s Show. At some point, Donna works at a radio station and they play vinyls. And so that makes sense to me.
Well, I think at this point they were like playing the tapes, like you said. So
so I'd never seen that. I never think about that, but I think it's so cool.
That is cool.
I'm starting to collect tapes as physical media.
That's really cool, actually. I only have like one, and I think it's the Beach Boys Christmas album.
That's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. There's a point where like Stretch starts giving a tour to Chop Top, like he wants to see everything, and he's just like, this is a lamp, this is Mr. Shark or whatever, and then this is a Rolodex. Yeah. And that made me think of you. I feel like you're the type of person to have a Rolodex.
I don't have one. That would be really neat, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I knew you would like the Rolodex.
Well, I like vintage things in general.
You do, yeah. You own a typewriter.
I do own a typewriter that actually works. I have like an extra ribbon for it as well.
Have you ever used it?
Yes. It's just kind of complicated because it doesn't the ink ribbon. It's not as vibrant as I want it to be. It's kind of like faint.
I see.
But I do love the idea of having that and like using that to write. That's just so like romantic. I romanticize those little things, but to me it's like, oh, the beauty of the writing and the art.
It is beautiful. I recently I like collecting small things.
Yeah.
And
like teeny tinies? Like
I collect these little ceramic birds.
Okay.
That I really like, and I'm starting to collect 1 ounce shots of drinks that look like the big version of it.
Oh, yes, I love those. They're so cute.
Right now I have a Jose Cuervo and I have a Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey.
Proud
and
of
they're both little tiny. And I don't drink them. I just collect them.
Yeah.
And another thing I'm starting to collect when I go to stores is postcards.
Okay.
And they're just they just have beautiful art on them. And so I'm going to start sending letters to people.
I love that.
So I'm going to start writing and put like it in a little envelope and then have like a little stamp. No, not stamp. What are they called? Like wax melt.
Yes, wax seal stamp.
That is. And now I'm going to start mailing people. Unfortunately, I found out that it only takes like a day to get to them, which I wish it was way longer. I wish like I could write it and it would take 7 days for them to receive it.
Well, maybe it depends on where they're living. Maybe if they're like completely across the country, it might take just a little bit longer, like a day or two.
Or maybe I don't know if can I send mail to like other countries?
You can. Know? You just require more stamps.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll do that. But the way I'm going to go around it is like any letter that I write to anybody, they cannot reply anything about the letter. They can't talk to me. Like they can't message me about it.
Yeah, yeah.
If they want to
keep it all in the letter.
Yeah, exactly. They have to send me a letter if they want to reply.
Yeah. So then we get to meet LG is his name.
LG.
What the fuck is up with these names, man?
I think everything was just
LG is a brand of like
television.
Appliances. Yeah. Like the fuck? I just don't understand.
I think everybody wanted to have a nickname back in the day.
I don't think it makes you that special.
Me neither, but I think we're totally over that. But everybody was like, "Oh man, that's Ricky Big Bottom because he has a big bottom." I just feel like that was a thing. Like everybody had like a little name.
You know what's funny is I was just talking to some of my guests at work about this because they were a lot of the time when I tell people my name, I'm like, "Hey guys, my name's Geraldine." People are like, "Whoa, your name's Geraldine? That's really cool." And I'm like, "Thanks." And I was like, it's funny is as an adult, I love my name. As a child, I fucking hated my name.
Why?
You know what? It was because I didn't feel special because I couldn't find my name on like keychains and shit. But nowadays it doesn't matter because you can make shit or you can like buy things. Yeah, custom make or whatever. And it's like, cool.
It's a very unique name.
It is. Geraldine. It is. And what's funny is I've heard so many other versions of that. Like growing up, so I'm Geraldine Johnson. I knew someone who her maiden name was Johnson, but her first name was Sherilyn.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was one of like my classmates' moms, and she was so sweet. But it's just so weird to hear other people's like the way I describe the way they pronounce my name. Yeah. I'm like it's Marilyn, but with a J, but not spelled that way.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I like it.
It's not really funny. To me, it's kind of a little bit quirky funny, but people laugh a little bit. I'm like,
well, that makes sense because you like Marilyn Monroe.
I do. She's a boss-ass bitch.
You have like a poster of her, don't you?
No, my Nana did a watercolor painting of her that I was going to do, but my Nana kind of took over the project, and I was like, okay, Nana, that's yours. But I kept it because, I'm sentimental that way. Yeah. She was like, oh, this looks like garbage. And she did it in 15 minutes, and it is beautiful.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I was like, Nana, this is not garbage. I'm keeping this forever.
Yeah, creativity definitely runs in your family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
1,000%.
Between all of you.
I love it. I live for it. I live and breathe creativity. It's fun times.
So I think a lot of this movie is like kind of just stumbling from one part to the next part. At the beginning, I feel like we get a little bit of motivation for all the different characters.
A little bit, like they're trying to solve a case. They're like, okay, like they just like sweep everything under the rug. Their disappearances.
Lefty is trying to like avenge his family. We learn at the beginning of the movie that we don't really know who, but part of the people that were in the previous film are related to him somehow.
And then we find out like it just didn't feel that storyline did not feel cohesive to me, because then why wouldn't he have been on the trip? Why wouldn't, I mean, unless he's like way older than them?
Well, he says it appears to be, and it's weird because I'm not sure how he's related to them, but he says it at the beginning like he's their uncle. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't go to trips with my uncle.
But he says that in the movie, like brother. He says like my brother.
I think he just calls everybody brother and sister.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Like Hulk Hogan.
What do you call your brother? Just his name?
Well, sometimes I call it like baby brudder, like Brudder, because it's like little, like
it's a little cute,
like baby brother. You're my little baby brother.
Does he like it?
Sometimes he does, but most of the time he hates me. So
fair enough.
But yeah, I do just call him like Dagan or whatever.
Stretch, her motivation of the movie is that she's tired of just playing music. She wants to do something real for once. And she sounds like she wants to be a journalist.
That's what it sounds like.
Be a journalist, not a radio host.
Yeah, you can't really. I mean, you probably could tap into both, but I mean, like that's messy, girl. You'd be messing up a lot of stuff.
But I just feel like both of them have motivation set up at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But then it all falls apart so hard.
Yeah.
And it's only motivation when they need it to be. So like Stretch keeps on being pushed into danger over and over again. The motivation being that she wants to get a story or do what's right. Mm-hmm. But then as soon as she gets closer, she's endangered again. And now she just wants to leave. And then that happens a few times with her character, and it doesn't work for me. And then with the other side on Lefty has this whole thing where he wants to avenge everybody. So, but he gets into like their underground lair, and he just starts trying to like break it apart and like chainsaw through all the support beams.
Which, I mean, that's a good plan. That's a good strategy. But it's also like you're taking your sweet fucking time, and I'm surprised that we were so lucky to keep the final girl. But also, I have so many gripes with it too, because Leatherface would not fucking not kill her.
Okay, yeah, we have to talk about this because I feel like it's a big point of the movie is that this movie gives a romantic side to Leatherface. Like
it really makes you like feel sorry for him.
Interesting.
I'm not gonna lie, because there's part of me that's like, oh, like he just wants that something tender, something like love. But the way that it's gone about when we discover this is strange and like
very
uncomfortable.
Strange. Do you think it was supposed to be funny?
I don't know.
I can't tell.
I don't know. So there's this, which I have to talk about the scene because it cracked me the fuck up. It was totally me. So he's going, like, they're in the radio station because Chop Top comes in and like ambushes her and was like, I would like to put in a request, blah blah blah, and then Leatherface comes out of nowhere and doesn't harm her. He chases her around the studio, which these scenes are just so unnecessarily long, by the way, unnecessarily long. But also just these individual scenes, they need to be like way shorter than what they were, because I was like, I'm losing interest
easily.
And so he's chasing her around, and she's freaking out. He's destroying the radio station. She's screaming, "Oh no, no!" Which I'm not gonna lie, she's beautiful. Can't fucking act.
Yeah, especially with the screaming and yelling, there's an art to that. And Sally from the last movie did it a lot better.
Oh my god, yes.
And also, not just the acting, but also like, why did they make her? There's so many parts in the movie where they could kill her, and they just make it keep cutting back and forth between like them being like and her being like, oh no, please.
And I think there's a formula to these movies that really works, and they've developed it. I mean, we see it in a lot of movies like Evil Dead, or at the first Leatherface, and you'll see it in like some of the remakes and stuff. A lot of the time, you'll see in these movies that they have like character archetypes and stuff, and there's like more than like there's usually like at least 4 or 5, like, and that typically is they each have their own specific role in that movie. We didn't get any of that, and I think that was another reason why it just fell short for me, is there was no development there, and because of that, now you're saying Leatherface has a heart and he's not going to kill this girl, but he's been killing everyone his whole life. He was literally skinning LG in front of her.
Right.
I just don't understand the logic there. Whoever wrote this, I have a gripe with you.
Yeah, it just seems going back to motivations. Like everybody, like his love story too is also very just like just pushed in there. Like there's no substance behind it.
None.
Just like the other characters, it's just whatever the story writer wanted him to do.
It's literally just because she was about to die. He had the chainsaw like right by her, like her hoo-ha, and then she all of a sudden. Yeah. Which, first of all, makes me think of Heathers, the movie Heathers, because that's like a saying in the 80s was, fuck me gently with a chainsaw, you know?
Oh. Okay.
Love that saying. So I was like,
it was
LOL, kind
weird, because he was like,
very weird.
Correct. Like his chainsaw was pressed up against her leg. And I was like, oh no.
And then
I hope this doesn't go there.
She was going to like seduce. I thought maybe, I didn't know if he was going to do that. But then she like seduces him.
Yeah, it sounds like it turns into a sensual thing, like a sexual thing.
Like, I understand the motivation there because you're like trying to like get him all buttered up and then you can like run away.
Yeah, exactly. But that doesn't happen. And in general, just the inclusion is weird. The way they do it.
It's not done well, I guess. So it doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like I'm like watching.
Where he's like pressing his chainsaw into her crotch, and like and it lasts so long.
I was like, I'm uncomfortable.
It is extraordinarily uncomfortable. And then Geraldine, I don't know if you thought the same thing I did, but after a while of doing this, he kind of just like starts jostling a little bit. And for a second, I was like, I don't know if it's like something's going on in his brain. Like, no, I can't be in love. I got to fight this. Or the alternative, which is much worse, that he just finished. He just climaxed. Yes,
I thought the
same thing. I was like, God, because immediately afterwards, he goes back to like, I'm going to kill you or whatever. So
it was so uncomfortable. Like, I was like, what the fuck is this choice right now? What is this choice?
I cannot believe, and I just don't understand. Was this supposed to be scary or was it supposed to be funny? No, it's neither. I don't know what they were trying to do.
I was like just more uncomfortable. I was like, okay. But then another thing that made me really laugh at this part before she does that, because she's like, are you good? But before then, she was like, are you mad at me? This is me.
You say that?
Yes.
Why do you say it?
It was just, I don't know. It was just so funny because she was just like, are you mad at me? Are you gonna hurt me kind of thing? But I was like, I do that with people like in my life all the time. Where I'll be like, hey, are you mad at me? Hey, do you still like me?
Why do you say that to just be annoying?
It probably is annoying to them, but it's not me trying to be annoying. I just am annoying. There's a difference.
Fair enough.
But I do it because I want reassurance, because I'm in my own head, usually like, okay, everyone's out to get me, everyone hates me, that kind of thing. We
finally get into the lair at some point.
I thought that you were just like, moving on.
Just because I feel like most of this movie isn't like worthy. Like there's nothing that happens here. It's like we just trug along until we get to the lair.
Yeah, and I also wrote down like he kind of pretended to kill her, because if you notice, whenever he comes back down after he spares her, Top Top's like, did you get the girl? Blah, 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 blah.
He didn't.
He didn't. It
feels
but
he lied. He said he did.
Which is that's not fucking Leatherface. That's not, he's based on Ed Gein, like this notorious serial killer. Okay. You really think that they have any moral compass to stop themselves?
Like I said, it was trying to be campy. And like when I was watching this, Bailey was, playing Zelda.
Yeah.
And she looked over and she was like, oh, so is this movie also based off off real events or whatever? And I told her not really, because we were like 10 minutes, because it was a part where like he was chainsawing the car or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I said the first one is, they still change things around. The story's different,
right.
Of course.
It's embellished for Hollywood purposes, stuff like that.
But this one is like has nothing to do with like I told her it's more of a continuation of the last movie using the same assets than it is.
I wouldn't even like. I think it tries to be continuation. Like it doesn't even like fall in the same fucking category. It's so poorly done.
It is not good.
It is not good.
And
at
I think most of the blame should be given on the writer.
Should be,
because I think.
I mean, there's only so much you can do as a director, but like you should be able to take those liberties as the director.
Yeah, but you can only do so much.
You can only do so much.
At the end of the day, and I think Tobe Hooper. I think he also directed The Poltergeist. I've never seen it. But so I think Tobe Hooper is more than capable of directing a good horror movie.
Oh, 1,000%.
And I think we complain about some of the actors' performances, but I think there's enough a good quality in the actors to make a good movie. Mm-hmm. So I think it's mostly just the script that they had to work with.
I think I can agree with that. It's more on the script, but it's still like annoying and weird. Then we get to this weird Texas Battleland, which kind of looks like it's an amusement park, but not really. Yeah, I was confused because it was like
it's like an Battleground. It's supposed to be like to teach kids about the Alamo.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I was like, is this either like a battleground, like reenactment field kind of thing, or is this like some sort of like amusement park?
I think it's a bit of both, like an educational, fun place to go to.
I love places like that.
Me too.
Did you ever go to places like that as a kid? Like I went to like
as a kid, no.
I went to like Honeysuckle Hill Farms or something like that.
Never heard of it.
It's like a little place. They have like corn mazes and shit like that, and they like have like little zip lines and weird like tube.
Did you get on the zip line?
I think I did. I'm a daredevil. I'll do anything.
Would you do bungee jumping?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that commercial though? I think about it all the time.
What?
It's stuck in my head. In movies, like they would have like the trailers. Like it's so weird that movies, like when you buy a movie, it's so weird to me now to think about it. But back then, like that was just something that was so normal to me. Like whenever you pop a movie into the DVD player, to the VCR, anything like that, then you're like, okay, it has like movie trailers and before the movie, which is so weird to me if you think about it.
It is weird because by the time you have the DVD, the movie's already...
Those movies are already out or something. So that's really... I never thought about that until right now.
I haven't played a DVD in a long time or like a Blu-ray.
I haven't either.
Do they still do that?
I believe they do.
Really?
I haven't checked in a while, so I'll
Maybe
have to...
they're trying to sell
I did pre-order Scream 6 on DVD, like the Steelbook. Okay. It's beautiful, so I'm excited for that. So maybe
we'll check it out.
Maybe we'll check it out and see for sure. But it's so weird to me that they do that. Back when I would watch movies growing up, there was this like weird little commercial. I think it was like truth.com.
Okay.
Like something about like drinking or smoking.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it was people bungee jumping, and they were like bungee jumping, and they would like grab a can of like this beer at the bottom, and it was like, open up a can, explode. And it always stuck with me, and it's still in my head, and I still think about it. Often. It's just so funny because like one of the people explodes.
Oh, ooh. Yeah, those truth commercials are crazy.
They are. Especially the one where like the lady is like
deflated,
deflated, and it's like people are like, "That's how I want to feel when I'm smoking," and I'm like, I don't, because I literally am like, I'm dead.
Do you smoke?
I have before, and I don't. It does not pair well with my overactive brain.
You don't have like a Vape Nation, any family member or anything like that just...
I mean, I have people in my family who vape. If I'm drinking, sometimes I'll hit people's vapes, like socially. Not great, but...
I've never done it, and I feel like if I did do like any kind of smoke, I'd be coughing a lot.
You know, it's crazy. I don't get okay, I'm going to knock on like this wood, though. I don't get addicted to things like that. Because I have this awareness that my family, there's like a history of it in my family.
For sure.
So I don't want to. So I'm able to kind of control that. Like, like if I do overindulge, that's fine. Like whatever. I pay for the consequences like the next day or whatever.
Same thing. That's why I don't drink, is because I have that history and I don't want to get addicted. But I would like you know, this would actually be good for you if you don't get addicted. That means you could probably try a little bit of meth.
No.
And not have the consequences.
I don't think I'd want to try the meth. Because
that's all I want to try.
Because why?
Just a little bit. Just to try it.
You're insane.
Well, you want to go bungee jumping. So what? What do you want?
You know, can't throw rocks at glass houses. Is that the same?
What does that mean? If it is, what does it mean? Like, what does that have to do with what we're talking about?
I don't know. Take it out.
Are you the glass house?
I don't. I think I was just kind of saying maybe pot calling the kettle black. I'm bad with sayings, guys.
Also, what does that mean? I know what it means, but like
meaning like I can't say shit kind of thing.
But why can't the pot call the kettle black? I know what it means, but like, what's the etymology on that?
I don't fucking know. Do I write them? No, I just say them. I just say the sayings, and I say them incorrectly, and I just vibe, man. I'm just living on vibes. But yeah, so then we're at Texas Battleland, and the bitch is running. Stretch is running. And the way that she runs, first of all, fucking hilarious. Second of all, the way she screams, fucking hilarious. It's just so bad, so poorly done. The acting is awful in the scene. And she's like running from Lefty and doesn't know it. And that's like, but I'm not going to lie. Whenever it's revealed that it's Lefty, I secretly thought he's in on it.
That'd be a much cooler twist.
That would have been. I mean, this movie had nothing going on. And I was like,
really.
oh, it's going to be revealed. He's in on it.
Unfortunately not. She just falls into a hole.
She a conveniently placed hole.
Could you imagine? What I ended up thinking, it has to be a trap hole. Well,
obviously, it's got to be a trap hole.
As in, like, it's set there for somebody to walk on randomly one day.
Oh, how convenient that she just happened upon. Of course, movies, you can't really control that. That's just.
And then to add to the camp, the thing he uses to try to get her back up is like an arm skeleton, just bones.
This scene, I was like, "Are you fucking with me right now?" He's like, "Grab onto this!" Wow.
And it's just a hand.
And it's a skeleton hand, like that's gonna hold her up. It's like a old, decrepit, like aged skeleton hand.
And she falls, but the way she falls down the hole,
oh my god, so funny.
It's the same like little section, and they just play it all over and over. She fell through the hole like 9 times, and they just did different takes to make it look like the tunnel's a lot longer.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Something I don't understand, though, is when Lefty goes in and starts breaking all the support beams, it's like 2 things. He has 2 objectives here, I feel like. Save Stretch and kill the murder family, right?
Yeah.
And I think destroying the support beam accomplishes neither. Like, I don't know. He has this whole thing like, bring it all down, bring it all. And he keeps saying it. He's crazy. He's gone off the fucking deep end. Why is he wielding chainsaws? Where's his gun?
He's only using one. You buy 2 and you're only using 1.
He buys 3 of them.
Oh, I must have missed the 3rd one. I thought it was
he buys 2 small ones and a big one. And then he eventually uses them to like sword fight with Leatherface. With the chainsaws. And I'm like, what is going on? Why doesn't he have a gun? He's like a deputy. Why doesn't he just shoot him? It just makes no sense to me.
It's so bad.
Also, throughout this whole thing, Stretch is like, I think this does make for an interesting dynamic that we've seen in other movies, but this one doesn't do it well, where Stretch is in a location where she's hiding, and the people, everybody else who's in there doesn't know that she's there.
I hate stuff like that, but also...
You don't like it?
Yeah, because it gives me a little bit of anxiety, which is fine, but...
Yeah, that's why I like it, because it's kind of tense. Have you ever been in that situation where you're trying to be hidden while other people, and you don't want them to know you're there?
It's a funny story, actually.
You have?
I have something like that.
Oh, wow,
it was a funny
okay.
Story. It wasn't meant to happen. I was literally like 9 years old, so take this with a grain of salt. I was in my mom's room. I don't know why I was in my mom's room.
Okay.
And I think I was going through her closet because I loved her like shoes growing up. Like her shoes were so cool. She had like Living Dead dolls in there.
That's awesome.
Like it was just a lot of cool things to look at. And she came into the bedroom and was changing like clothes, and I didn't want her to know I was in her closet. So I was like hiding in there, really quiet.
What are you gonna do?
And sorry, Mom. She got like fully undressed, and was changing clothes, and I had to like be quiet. And I was like, was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And like, unfortunately, like, it was like, this is really bad. I really had anxiety
once
growing
you're deep
up.
in there, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So then my mom left the bedroom after she was done getting fully dressed again, which luckily she did not come to the closet. Thank God.
Could you imagine?
Oh my! I literally would have freaked out. That's how I knew I have anxiety, because I look back on these old memories and I'm like, I can remember exactly what I was fucking feeling. It was like a hole in my stomach, and I was like, oh my God, please don't discover me.
Yeah. But when you think about it in reality,
it's so funny.
It's just stupid.
It's so stupid how like big those emotions feel.
Yes, exactly.
But then my mom like goes out into like the hallway or something like that, and then is like looking for me, and then I come out of her bedroom and she's like, "What were you doing in my room?" And I was like, "Mom, I was in there the whole time. I'm so sorry."
What happened? Did you get in trouble, or?
She was like, why were you in my room, first of all? Like, why didn't you say anything? But I didn't get in trouble. It was just like, she was more like, what
confused.
Are you? Yeah, like, what are you doing? And I was like, Mom, I saw you like fully get undressed and stuff like that. I would tell myself as a child. I would have such a guilty conscience growing up.
Wow.
Which I still do have a guilty conscience. That's just how people are built. Everyone has their own like thing that they deal with. Mine is I feel shame for things that happened so many years ago that I have a hard time letting go of.
So does that mean you can't lie?
It's a hard thing for me to lie, if I'm being honest. I don't do well with it. It makes me feel sick to my tummy. But so like I don't know. Where was I going with that? Fuck.
I don't know. She got mad at you.
Yeah. No, she didn't get mad, but like that's how I knew I had anxiety growing up. For one,
okay.
Two, lying is just not in my thing. I just feel guilty about things all the time. So it's just, I don't know.
The closest thing I've ever come to this, I think, and I just thought of it right now, nothing remotely like it, is being in the cafeteria as like a 3-year-old. Sorry, 3-year-old, you're not in a cafeteria. Being in the 3rd grade in the cafeteria.
Okay. That makes more sense.
And like,
that's the same age,
we're in
probably.
trouble. Nobody's allowed to talk at the table.
I hate that.
And me and my friend or whatever keep on like, hey man, what's up? You know, like just and then one of like a cafeteria monitor, somebody comes up and she's like yelling at us or something. But I'm like covering my face or whatever, and she makes a comment at us. Or like,
were you laughing?
Yeah.
You were.
Not when she started talking, and then I got scared and reacted properly. You know, and like you.
I can't do that in like serious situations. I can't help but laugh. I'm like.
But in that situation, I did feel like I was trying to sneak something. You know, it's not the same thing. I wasn't sneaking around somebody's house or whatever, but I want to do that in my life at some point. I don't know why. I know it's weird. It is super weird.
You're giving me anxiety for you.
Yeah, I want to be like somewhere where like people like don't know I'm there, and like I have to like sneak out of the house. So
you want to scare someone.
No.
You know what's funny is I scare people all the time at my job. I'll be like, hey guys, how's it going? And then they're like, and I'm like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm just excited to be here.
But I am trying to sneak somewhere.
Okay, well, that's on you.
Maybe like the mall closes and it's only the security guards there and I got to make my way out of the mall.
Please stop. No. So then, she's hiding and they don't know it. And so Leatherface is chopping up, or no, not chopping up. He is supposed to be chopping up LG, skinning. But he's skinning the skin off of LG, which was, this scene was really cool. I'm not going to lie. I really had fun with this scene. This scene was like, because we don't get this in the first one, but it's alluded that, you know, he's wearing people's skin. But in this one, we get to see it happen. And I think, obviously, because of the being in 86, it was a little bit more free to do that kind of stuff. That was, like, I don't know. There was just a little bit less restrictions, it felt like.
Okay. I will say you, in particular, have made it to where I wasn't as scared with this scene.
Okay, very cool.
Wait, because why? I know you, because you've done horror makeup. And I know a little bit more about that. So when LG stands up and his face has been ripped off,
that was really cool.
I can know, like, okay, that's just makeup. There's stuff on top.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to give you the idea that things have been removed.
Right.
But there's actually stuff on top. So
I was not expecting him to live through this.
Me neither. And he, again, like the script just kind of writes. Like,
I thought it was like a dream sequence, or maybe she was like so like traumatized that she imagined it happening for a second. And I was like, this ain't that deep. Why am I assuming that?
Obviously, he's supposed to be dead. And he the only reason he's not is so that he can get up and like break her free from the rope, the tied ropes.
Which so
and then he dies again. So the script just wanted something to get her untied.
Yeah, I literally wrote LG face scene yucky, which was really fun. Actually, not really just yucky, but it was yucky. Basically dead LG LOL is what I wrote. I said, oh, she loved him? Question mark. Damn.
No.
Because she's like, I loved you.
Since when? Like, he also, Leatherface plays with Stretch like a doll for a little bit.
That was
like,
really, really funny.
He like dresses her up with like the face mask.
I thought it was because he wanted to set her free, to free her. And then I was like,
disguise her. Mm-hmm. But I think he was just playing house. Because then he was like making her like dance with like her hands.
That was funny. I did appreciate that scene.
It was creepy.
It was creepy. That I liked. But I was like, I don't know. And then there's just so many gripes. It's just so dumb.
I think something that doesn't make any sense to me is when Lefty finds a skeleton sitting on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, my dear Franklin.
He's like, my dear brother Franklin. And I was like, oh, okay. Because at first I was like, what are we seeing? Like, why is he freaking out right now? It took me a minute. And I was like, the fuck is happening?
I knew immediately that what the movie is trying to suggest, it's trying to imply that is Franklin's skeleton, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, why? First of all, why would they bring the wheelchair? And then why would they set up the corpse on the wheelchair?
Right.
And also, why would Lefty assume that it's Franklin? Literally, I don't know if you noticed the shot after this stretches running through a hallway. There's another skeleton in a wheelchair. And I'm just like, that could have, if you ran across this one, would he think that's Franklin? You know? But
my dear brother, exactly. My dear brother. Like,
It's so goofy. It's so goofy.
So dumb. So then they do a couple of things from the first one. They almost like try to recreate it in a sense.
Okay, I want to talk to you about this because we've watched the Evil Dead series.
Right, which is, I think they do it well. This one did not.
I don't think... Okay, so the Evil Dead series, they redid things. This one, they redid it too. Why do horror movies do this?
I think, for one, inspiration. It's an inspiring thing, and it's like, okay, we kind of have the same... It's like the formula. You copy the formula. Okay. Because, what makes a good sequel, is that it's essentially like the same but different in like ways. You know what I mean?
Because for this one, I feel like it was just exact. Like the ending. I have a theory about why they do it.
Okay.
My horror movie theory is that now we have Netflix. We can rewatch a movie whenever. I might be talking out of my ass right now because in the 80s, I'm thinking maybe the movie does well, right? The first one. And it's 13 years later. I don't think people might have not had easy access to the original.
Maybe not.
So I think horror movies would think to themselves,
them to go watch the first one, go find the first
one.
Go
watch the first one or just experience it again in the second one. It's kind of like, I know for sure this was a thing that happened like way back, like 30s, 40s, 50s, where like the only time you get to see a movie is at the theater.
Right.
So re-screenings were like a big deal. Like that's how you make money off of a movie is you show it again.
They're doing that more recently now. Like a lot of, I noticed that with like, what was it? Well, for example, one of my favorite movies that you'll watch later in the spooky season. I'm excited. It's called Trick or Treat, directed by Michael Dougherty. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful film.
I hope so.
Also, it's sexy, but I'm not going to.
Sounds like your thing.
Yeah, but it's very Halloween-y, of course. And it originally never aired It never came to theaters. Never was screened. So here, like years later, like this past year, he brought it back to theaters.
Nice.
And I think it was almost kind of like a test to see who would be like willing to go to the theaters to see a part 2, because I think he's in the early stages of creating Trick or Treat Part 2.
That's nice.
Which I'm excited. I'm excited. But they're doing a lot of that now, I've noticed.
Yeah,
even with like big blockbuster movies, like they're bringing back like, oh, like we're gonna rescreen it again for another week.
I appreciate that because a lot of these movies I've never seen before, and I personally love going to the theater.
The theater is such a fun experience.
I know a lot of people prefer to watch it at home, so they can use the bathroom, and that makes sense to me. But personally, I do really enjoy the communal experience.
I'm gonna suffer.
I like the sound. I like the big screen. I like the popcorn.
Yeah.
It's just a good time for me.
A great time.
So I think like people might have not seen the first one, so it's okay. They can put the second one.
Right.
And because like I said, like home media wasn't as popular back then.
Right, for sure. Because,
so
not everyone could afford like VCR players and shit
exactly. Like that. Maybe the 90s, but yeah. So and they do almost the exact same thing. It's like a dinner setup. There's a girl at the end of the table.
It was so weird. It was like, your Leatherface's girlfriend. He's never brought a girl home before, and I was like. Like we're really doing this.
That was such a good impression.
You know what's funny, by the way?
What?
A table the other day at my work, I was there. They were like, oh, they told me to slow down because I talk really fast, right? Which, if you know me and I get excited about things or get really like enthusiastic, I do talk a little bit faster. It's just something that I do, especially if I'm passionate about things. And I'm like, I gotta get my point across.
Fair enough.
Well, I was doing that, and they were like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Do you mind slowing down?" Like, because I don't remember. I know they were from Canada, but one of them had a different accent. I can't exactly remember what it was. Okay. But so they were like, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Do I sound really Southern?" Because they're like, "Oh, like you just your U.S. accent. It's a little bit hard to understand everything you're saying because you're going really fast." And I was like, "Oh yeah, totally. So sorry." Okay. I was like, "Can you tell me do I have a Southern accent?" Oh, yeah. And they were like, "No, you don't sound Southern at all." I was like, "I've worked really hard on it. Thank you."
That line you just said sounds so Southern. Like, excuse me, do I have a Southern accent?
Excuse me, ma'am. Do I got that Southern accent? You think?
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it. If
you can
tap
into it. Yeah.
I can absolutely tap into it. I hear it enough, so But yeah, we get another fucking dinner scene, and it's just so dumb. Also, the grandpa looks way less creepy in this one.
It does, and we don't get the little licky, put your fingers in my mouth thing.
That was so funny. That reminds me of that little Vine video or whatever it was when, like, it's like the witch face, like the old lady witch face, and they do the finger thing, and it's like, and then the person puts the you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
No clue. Yeah, completely recreating everything from the previous one.
Yeah.
The grandpa like does the whole like, oh, my hammer keeps falling.
It was so stupid. They're literally trying to like, oh, Grandpa's the best. We're gonna make him hit her. Ha ha ha. And it just.
Yeah, it's just I just don't like seeing it again. They're just recycling the ending from the first movie.
Yeah, it's because it's like maybe they didn't think that people would see the first one or whatever, but it was just horrible, and the acting was awful. Her acting, her trying to be like traumatized and scared. I mean, granted, I wouldn't know what I would do in those moments either, but at the same time, like I feel like it wouldn't be this.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was just so I don't know, the way that the lady who played Sally did it was believable. Like it was convincing, a convincing performance that she was terrified out of her mind.
Exactly. And also the editing too, like all the shots of like cutting into her eyes, like we mentioned last time. I feel like that was like
typically I'm very against like close up eye shots sometimes because they're uncomfortable.
That one worked.
But that one worked.
And this one we don't get any of that.
We don't get any of that. And it's just like I don't even know. It just it was like laughable. Her performance was laughable at this point. I was like, what are you doing?
Lefty comes in to save the day, and then she starts running, for her freedom. He tells her to run. He gets into a fight with Leatherface, chainsaw fight.
Yeah, which was hilarious again. Epic showdown. Here we are.
He gets the cook in the ass.
Hilarious.
And then they start showing down to which eventually leads for him stabbing Leatherface through the stomach with the chainsaws. And then Cook has like a grenade. Meanwhile, all this is happening. Stretch is running away from Chop Top.
Which this scene is also...
Yeah, it makes sense. They eventually get to a ladder and she's like climbing off and trying to push him off.
Just fucking kick him in the fucking face. I don't understand. I mean, I say this trying to sound all tough.
I think she tries, but she doesn't really amount to it. I don't know. I don't really know what ends up happening because once they get to the top, there is like this like I don't know what to call it when you have like a monument, not a monument, but like something. What is the thing called when you have like you're a big K-pop fan and you have in your closet you have this whole big area?
A shrine?
There's like a shrine to their grandmother.
Oh yes, that was creepy.
That was creepy. I thought it was cool.
I appreciated that, cool. And they gave her a chainsaw in her hand.
I wonder why. Did she start this whole thing?
I mean, starts in the family. Keep it in the family, babies.
Oh gosh. well, Stretch pulls out the chainsaw. He gets really upset. Instead of going after her, he goes to check on the grandma. I don't know why. I guess just to give Stretch like an opportunity to turn on the chainsaw while he's like ripping her back to shreds.
Yeah.
And that's how she ends up getting him, right, with the chainsaw. I think and then he falls off back into his little hole. And then she does this really weird dance, like from the first one.
Yeah, it literally is a copy of the first dance.
She starts like dancing with the chainsaw.
And I wrote it down. I was like, her acting is awful a little. And I said the ending ? Even though she does the same Texas dance as Leatherface, I said it was fucking stupid.
I like the first one better. I don't understand why she's doing it. In the first one, it kind of made sense that this deranged person would do this.
Yeah.
But this one, why is she doing this? And also, we never get any closure. The grenade never exploded like on screen.
I kind of hope it does. And
it never exploded on screen. We didn't even get a sound. We didn't get a visual of any collapse. So I don't know what ends up happening to Cook and Lefty and Leatherface at the bottom over there. But I guess we're supposed to assume that at some point it just exploded after all this.
I hope that they're all dead at that point because Jesus Christ, it was terrible. It was a terrible ending.
Yeah, it's not a good movie.
Not a good movie. So... Because we both hate it and we both agree it's not a good movie, I think we can kind of make an assumption what our rankings are going to be.
That we're both putting it behind the original.
Yeah, so it is at the bottom. So it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
And the gap is massive. The first one is so much better.
Oh my God, so much better. Like if I had to rate this out of a 10, it would probably be a 1 out of 10. Maybe a 2 out of 10. I'm going to be a little bit generous there.
Yeah, I'd probably go 3.
Because like it's not anyone's it's not their fault the writing was bad. It's what they had to work with.
Yeah.
And I think as far as building the movie, like the sets were nice enough, I guess. I liked the radio station dynamic. That was cool concept there. And then I also really enjoyed the horror movie makeup. Like Tom Savini again does amazing. He never skips a beat. So
what would you assign a letter grade onto this? Because for me, it's an F.
It's an F. It's
unfortunately,
an F.
Yeah.
It's an F for me, dog.
Well, I was excited to go watch this one.
Yeah.
Was disappointed. Now we're gonna go watch the third one.
Yeah.
And I'm a little more. I wonder what's gonna happen. You don't have to tell me.
I haven't.
You don't know anything about it.
I haven't seen some of these earlier ones. So the only one I had seen in the original was the first one.
So I just am interested to see if we're gonna carry on.
Okay.
With the same cast of characters.
Yeah.
Because the only relationship I have with Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a newer one. Mm-hmm. I don't know which one it is, but it was on Spike TV or something.
Okay.
And I watched 3 minutes of it and was horrified, and it was scary. It was actually scary.
The newer ones are scary, which I appreciate.
The idea of a murder family, they really honed in on that, as opposed to this goofy kind of thing we have.
Do you see the what's it called? The reference in Cabin in the Woods now with the hillbilly torturer redneck family.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah, really fun. The fun family unit just killing people for
fun. So I still have some excitement to watch the next one. I'm just a little more hesitant. I'm okay, this might be good or it might suck. Thanks everybody for listening. Go follow us on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, TikTok. We're at Fright Flight Pod. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Fright or Flight, a Live Oaks Village production. This episode was hosted by Geraldine Johnson and Saul Alberto Arizmendi Ochoa. Editing and music composition by Saul Alberto Arizmendi Ochoa.